What's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of the Aggressively Average Angler podcast. We've got a fun topic to talk about tonight. We got some chatter. I don't know if you guys have been on the Instagram machine lately, but we made a funny, demure, mindful, cutesy video. It was literally just Paul picking up the K-Craft from Crescent. It is a skiff hybrid, no matter what anybody on the internet tells you. He just picked it up 3 feet out of the water. It was like, this is light. Pretty neat, $1,200, and the internet lost their dang marbles.
Not having it.
This video is now at about 800,000 views, which is like maybe our second highest viewed Instagram ever, which is a crazy thing to think about for just picking up a dang boat. But the comments, you guys, on this video are completely unhinged.
The first 150,000 views were like very normal and cool, and I was like, wow, this is weird. It's very normal.
This is great.
And you can tell right after at 151,000 it went to like everybody, just like the algorithm was like, okay, you guys are enjoying this, so let's send it to everyone, see how they like it. And then a bunch of people who like don't really know a ton about like, or don't have a ton of experience, started commenting, and I could just instantly, I was like, oh boy, we've hit another level, because everything changed. The tone and demeanor instantly went from like, hey, that's pretty cool, or like, maybe that's too expensive for me, to like, you're a freaking loser, you don't know crap about boats, that's actually just a surfboard. And like it had
styrofoam.
3 days straight of me copy pasting in my exact answer, which is, it's cool if you don't like this, man, just really, you should do some drugs that will bring your anger and your rage down, and maybe you should rethink your whole life. Like, and I have to repeat myself constantly. Eventually it gets to a point that even between Jeff and I both tag teaming these comments between TikTok and Instagram, it like, you hit a limit where you're like, I've typed this so many times. How do so many people have this crap take? How did we get here?
So it's been interesting, to say the very least, and that kind of spurred this topic we want to talk about tonight, because the most popular mean comment on there was
uninformed response.
Unintelligent response was, this is not worth $1,200. This should be $50. Essentially.
I was very surprised, because in my opinion, I look at that and I see 1,200. I'm like, that's a pretty good deal. Like, I was like, that's a pretty good deal, actually. I think that's the value.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do this all the time. And the funny thing, I just want to be upfront about this with the show tonight, is like, we've been in every type of kayak you can think of, from a Sun Dolphin that I got for $180 on sale at Walmart, all the way up to the Hobie Pro Angler, the most expensive kayak we've ever been in, and like everywhere in between. So we're not just like making it up, and we do like nice things. We were talking before we hopped on live here, it's kind of like, you know, when you have a crappy mountain bike. So we were in college, we had Walmart mountain bikes, we'd ride to class, hated them, my pedals fell off, our chains would constantly fall off,
the derailleur is just a stick.
It just wouldn't work great, but it got you moving, right? Like, it got you from point A to point B, albeit maybe angrily. And like, eventually we both threw ours in a dumpster when we were done with them. But then you step up to like the next level of bike. You like invest $50 more, $100 more, and you're like, okay, I can tell this is better. Then you invest $500 more, and you're like, whoa, this is a different stratosphere. And then you buy like a $800 to $1,000
or whatever bike,
And if you've ever been on a $2,000 mountain bike, it's obvious that it's better. It's
not the same creature. It's different, and it's substantially better. This person, though, is on bike number 1, looking at bike number 3, saying, never. You're out of your mind. you that should only cost $100. And
that's
it's like, it's fine if, like, what I struggle with on these, but this is, I think we can end here, because I think we both agree. I can understand that someone's like, I don't want to spend that much. That's way too much for me. And I would like to have the cheap one. That's totally great. I'm super ecstatic for you specifically. That is a really cool. That's great. It also should be noted that this is just the price. So what we're gonna do today is
it's not our fault.
We're totally skipping through. We are totally skipping through Q of the D and everything else. And what we're gonna talk about is
too much to talk about.
In the beginning, we're just gonna kind of explain like production process, why things cost what they cost, and then we'll give you a couple of things to think about when you are like looking at an industry and being like, are they overcharging me or not? This goes for baits, and I'll speak to this when we talk about like soft plastics and stuff like that. This goes for cars. This goes for coolers. This goes for literally anything that you want. It's for everything. So
Bro,
we'll go through this.
hang on,
But
hang on.
oh, go ahead.
Imagine going to a classic car show and just calling everyone there an idiot as you walk by,
100%.
$100,000+ car.
But you're driving you're driving a
Honda
Gremlin,
Civic,
from the 70s, and you're like,
Yeah.
your Corvette is trash. You spent too much on it, you idiot. So we're gonna go through that, and then at the end, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a budget rig, just like the cheapest things that we can find that are good but are very inexpensive. The middle of the pack rig, which would be like most value, you get the most for your dollar, spend the least amount of dollars, get the most amount of quality and stuff, and then like a super expensive one, and then we'll total everything up. So we'll do PFD, we'll do paddle, we'll do electronics or no electronics, motor, no motor. We'll go through all that stuff. We're just going to hit the MSRPs really quick. Like if you bought them all new, this is what it would be. And then you're going to see the differentiation between like cheapest, most expensive, and then really probably where the sweet spot on value is.
Yeah. And here's the cool thing. We all can like agree or disagree. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do want to point out just like the budget spectrum, if you will, on kayaks. And keep in mind, like we're going to grab ones that we feel fit budget category, for example, and have good reviews, right? Because there's a lot out there that you can get a $300 kayak. You can get a $200 pack raft. Yeah. Like it will float. You will be okay. We don't think it's great, so we're not going to talk about it. But we'll talk about a bunch of other ones on here. All right, so let's kick it off with how the heck do you make a kayak? Have you guys ever looked into this? It's kind of wild. And there's a lot of different videos out there where you can actually see them making kayaks. I would highly encourage you, if you have not watched that, do it. In fact, being that I have a native Titan X, Georgia Bassmaster did a warehouse walkthrough on how they build the Titan X, and it didn't get the hype I think it deserved. He did a good video, so I would definitely.
Crescent is awesome too. Crescent, they have background footage of their factories, and I know that whenever Drew Gregory goes, you can usually does some filming. It's identical, and Old Town has a whole bunch of them.
It's just cool to see behind the scenes, like what goes into this. So the number one thing that comes up when I think of somebody saying it's only $50 worth of plastic, how dare they charge that much, is that person has no business acumen whatsoever, because it's not just a random person like making this out of plastic, which by the way, they should charge a lot too, because one person making a kayak is going to take so long. That is so much labor and so much time. It's crazy. But it's just that there's a whole business behind it that you have to think about too. And keep in mind, as we talk about this stuff, I'm not trying to justify their prices as perfection.
No,
we think that some of them are close to correct, and we think that some of them maybe are astronomical. Like when I see a Hobie being $5,800, like I'm like, yo, that's way up in the stratosphere there. That's a problem for me. But there are a lot of kayaks in that $1,000 to $3,000 range that are pretty dang
same as reels. Everyone has that line where you're like, man, if you spent more than that, you really you didn't get a lot of value, and that's totally fair. Like I look at the $250 mark, and I'm like, if you're hit $250 or more, you're getting a very, very nice thing. But that extra $100, like you didn't get that much. But like if you're into that, that's cool for you. That's the difference 100%. Here. But yeah, as we go through like the kayak thing, we'll get to the end. We'll kind of explain after we go through all these why we think things are of value. So why is it that when I look at Crescent, I'm like, man, if you want paddle, that is the best value. This should explain that. So when I'm saying $1,200 for this hybrid skiff, I think it's a value. When you go through all these things and you evaluate the Crescent in this way, you'll be like, yeah, that could have costed more. They could have charged you more, but really they kind of got it down to as low as they could without making it unviable for them. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we're going to go through the gist of it. I'm not here to pitch you the science. It is what it is. Learn from the actual experts, not from us on this one. We just want to give a little bit of some understanding to what this is. Also, Dwayne, inflatables, great question. We're going to have to do that on a separate one because it's a totally different process, which I am interested to find out more about because I know nothing about it. So great idea. Let's do that on another show. For today, we're doing plastic vessels. So most common when you get your kayaks, you guys have heard maybe roto molding. You probably heard composite, right? Those two-piece kayaks that you see like Pelican. Hobie has some, right? And you can tell it's very distinctly two pieces brought together. The roto molded is how you get a one-piece kayak. So they use a mold, they use a machine, they fill it with plastic, they like spin it around and stuff, and it spins for a while. It fills with plastic cures, and then you end up with a one-piece boat. The thing to think about with this is those molds, depending on like how custom they are, and these companies that make their own, not like your I'm not sure of all of them, but like some of the Brooklyn kayaks, the BKCs or whatever, those are ones where you can get them straight from China. Alibaba, you guys can go buy them right now. You could get the mold for basically the same kayak and try to make it yourself if you also bought a machine. But when you get like a native Titan X, this completely unique kayak, or a lot of the Crescents, they're making their mold. Like, it's going to be very expensive. If you buy one that's like pre-built, you spend somewhere between 500 and $5,000. If you make your own custom mold, it's gonna be like 20 to 60 grand, maybe more, for one mold. That's like every time you make it, however long that takes, you have one kayak. And if you're trying to build a company, you need a lot more than one kayak. And you need maybe more than one machine. I was looking at some of these machine prices that they're making these with, and it's like $15K for these very low production, like cheaper machines, up to 200 grand. And that's like one machine.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Like it. So there's a lot that goes behind the scenes.
Yeah. And if you're going to, and a lot of time, like the mold is the relative inexpensive part. It's expensive to manufacture because you have to have someone make it for you when you do a custom kayak. I'll tell you right now, if I was, and the production quality is different per mold. So if you're like, just for some background, I'm a professional, like my actual job is I'm a buyer. So I buy things. I bought everything from Christmas lights and Christmas trees and like Halloween costumes all the way up into food. So I bought a ton of stuff for huge companies. So I do this for a living. And I'll tell you, like, if let's say you wanted to have a mold made that you expect to make like 1 million things. Like if it's a mold for like a keychain and you're like, I need a mold that can withstand high heat, but I need it to make like 1 million things before it's going to start to crack and break down and need maintenance.
And they do break down.
And it can be the size. It can be like the size of like 2 hands, like this big. If you wanted one mold like that at that level of quality, it would cost you 10 grand somewhere in that neighborhood for something small. For something large and complex like a kayak, again, if you want it to make 1,000 kayaks or 2,000 kayaks and last you a decade, it's going to be significantly more. You're in into the hundreds of thousands for something like that. So just to be clear about how much molds can cost. And then a lot of times you're going to make 1 or 2 before you have to get rid of it. So this is why people like Hobie, they don't make a lot of different kayaks because their molds are very expensive. They need to be able to handle the high quality plastic. They have to have a very good finish because the mold is the outside of the kayak. So that's determining the texture. Then on top of all that, it's got to last and build to the quality that you want for years and years. And so that's why a lot of times you won't see Old Town make a change in their kayaks for like 10 years because that's how long the mold is going to last. And they can't afford to give you a value product if they're getting a new mold that costs like 500 grand every 3 years.
Yeah, so there's an insane amount of cost that goes into this. Here's what I think about, like one of our best peek behind the curtains, if you will, is Busby. Caleb's been very open with us about how he's making his designs for his boxes and the new Hive crates and things like that. And the thing that blew my mind was when he told me like his first Busby tackle box was around $5,000. Like, you're buying this box for $40. His first box that he put off the line was $5,000 because of all of the work that went into getting it done and making mistakes and doing it again. And like each one of those mistakes, when you try and make that through the mold, is costing him like $5,000. It's crazy. Let alone the crates that they came out with, or the totes, the Hive totes.
Yep.
The first one he made was $20,000 and he broke it. He broke it on the way to the show last year to ICAST, which was crazy. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with this cost wise, not to mention all the R&D that goes into it. People are doing the research. They're trying to figure out what people want in a kayak. They're doing market research. They're then developing, what is this kayak going to look like? You meet somebody from Big Adventures. You've got Hans Nuts, who made the XTR, best name ever, first of all. Second of all, XTR 130, the PWR,
the SS. They're all their kayaks all the way.
Everyone you see came out of his brain, right? So he's making these up. That takes time, that takes energy, that takes money, right? Because you got to pay Hans, keep him on the team. You don't want to lose that designer to another brand. That'd be crazy. So yeah, there's a lot there. Obviously, labor costs involved with actually making the stuff itself, making sure it's good, testing it out, and then all the business expenses that obviously come along with this too, from the exorbitant amount of taxes that they're going to have to pay producing these things, selling these things, paying their people, all that stuff, marketing, sales, blah blah blah. I don't want to spend all episode on this, but let's just start by, hey, 30,000 foot view. It's a lot more than just taking plastic and going boom, vessel. Like, that's just not how this works. So once we have that in mind, we can have a better understanding of why a lot of these kayaks on average are $1,000 to $1,500. That's like kind of the going rate if you want a decent kayak, right? Also, I think about this. They're not crushing it.
I think actually, so
they're not raking in the dough
on our list. So
yeah,
this is, I think, the most telling one. This is when you can tell a brand is coming at you and they are making a lot of margin. This is one of the easiest ways when you're a consumer. So Yeti's probably the best example. When you go to a Yeti booth or you see them somewhere, they have really high-end quality, like, merch on, right? They're selling t-shirts for $60. When their marketing materials are incredibly nice. When they have 30 people there, that's 30 people that they flew, are feeding, and are paying an hourly wage to be there and not do work. When you can see that there's just clearly excess, right? Like, so if their booth has like 3D, designs and their giveaways are worth like $20, right? That's a dead ass that they're making margin. When you see that the people at the higher part of the company are making a bunch of money and you could just tell that they have wealth, that's a dead giveaway. That means that the people at the top are making money because there's more money to go around. So number of employees, the merch, the way they market at you. Yeti doesn't even make commercials anymore. They make like cool videos, like really cool, super high-end, expensive production videos. That's it. So like that, all you guys all paid for that. Like we all paid for that. So those are the marketing, the people, those are all dead giveaways that company is rolling in.
Yeah. And if you look at the kayak industry right now, we know from the ICAST side of things, nobody's crushing it. They're just not. Like
some of them are doing well and selling a lot of kayaks, but it's not like they're not making a ton of money. There's not like excess of wealth. Like people are like rolling up in BMWs and giving things away. Like if we want to get a kayak, it's kind of a fight and a scrap. It's not an easy thing. It's not like you're just like, I want one. And they're like, aggressive average anglers, you're my favorite people. What color do you? It's not how it works. It doesn't. It's not. And so they're not like flush with cash, and you can definitely tell. Like these people are like, if you look at Crescent, they're doing this because they love to do this. They have a passion for doing this. They like the business, and they just like people, and they like making kayaks for people and designing kayaks. Like Old Town has been doing it that way for forever.
Yeah.
For forever. And you can just tell. And those people are having some success. They're selling like kayaks, but they're not like, it's not like an NFL owner. They're not like millionaires by any stretch. So
and when a company
lifestyle
like that,
wealth, baby.
When a company like that has a flop, like the e-pedal, it hurts them very dearly.
Severely, yeah.
What you'll notice is like who's not at ICAST. That's kind of what we gauge things on. Is we go to ICAST, we're like, where's Old Town? They weren't there this year. Hobie hasn't been there for I think 2 or 3 years, which is crazy to think about. Hobie's in reset mode, So there, you know what? Like, it's just I get it. I don't want to spend the money, and that's a completely valid reason not to want to get something.
Absolutely.
And stop crapping on people for spending money how they want to spend it. It's like, I'm happy to buy that K-Craft for $1,200. Some people aren't, and that's fine. Like, and I wouldn't have been 5 years ago. So I'm just, you get in that position, you're like, hey, maybe I'll spoil myself and get this, and that feels good. And it sucks when other people want to rain on your parade. I think that's dumb. I think people
it's also
who do that
weird.
are dumb.
Like, we've talked about this a lot. Like, for me, I think someone taking pride that they've, fished well or are good anglers and they do it with less expensive, fancy gear. Like, you should take pride in that. And somebody who gets like really cool stuff that they're geeked about, like if you get a DC reel and you're just hyped because it's fun, like we should be like, that's kind of cool too. Like, no, it's not that he's not saying you have to have this. He's just like, this is rad, and I'm enjoying my time and my money. Like, you are good. That should always be cool.
Yeah. Bottom line, have fun, be safe, catch fish, and vibes. And you're going to have a good time. So
Positive vibes.
Positive vibes. Good vibes, please. So yeah, it's so interesting. Oh, hey, Feather, you got your package. Awesome. I randomized the reels that we did in our last giveaway for members. So I don't know what reel you got, but I know it was either that Cast King Royal Legend 2 or it was the Daiwa, the Revros. So hopefully you enjoy it. Slap it on a reel. Go catch some fish. All right. So now that we've got through some of the background behind that, we know these companies aren't like just, rolling in the dough. Here's what I think about with this. Hang on. Who has the biggest booth at ICAST? Those booths are expensive.
Sure.
It ain't not a kayak company. It's pure fishing.
Yeah, it's pure fishing. They have giant
baits,
tanks
rods,
full
reels.
of big bass, and they've got like displays that are like 3 deep with 15, 20 people working at the booth. Like,
dude, New Canoe's booth was like a 10 by 10 grid spot.
Yep. Like it's always been.
They had 2 kayaks in there, and they had
4 people.
Their entire staff of 5 or 6 people. So yeah, it's just interesting, right? So let's get into when we're talking about creating a kayak. We're gonna look at our budget rig, I like calling it the mid rig, and then the bougie rig. And keep in mind, like when we're looking at types of kayaks here, we're looking at paddle, pedal, or motor ready. Like some paddle kayaks you could put a motor on, but they're making more that are specifically rated for motors. And we reviewed 4 of them actually in our video on Monday. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But we did the New Canoe Unlimited, the U10, the Crescent CK2, and the Bonafide PWR, which I think if you guys check out our review on the PWR, you might be surprised by how we feel about it. Extreme Outdoorsman in the room. What's up, dude? You don't have a kayak, but you should. Wait, do you have a kayak? You never fish out of it. You got your fancy bass boat.
Yeah, he's got one.
He's out. I would live in that bass boat. It's got a nice boat. Is it a boat? What is a boat, Paul? By definition.
Oh, well, so
this is one of the funniest comments we've been dealing with, you guys. So on that reel that's popping off right now, Paul called it a boat in the video. Huge mistake. Absolutely asinine mistake. Everybody's like, that's not a boat, and then insert any ridiculous comment like that's a piece of styrofoam, that's a surfboard, that's a sup, that's a paddleboard, whatever, right? The funny thing is the definition of a boat is any vessel that floats that can be powered or propelled by a paddle, a motor, or any other means of propulsion. So
even
it's a boat, man. If your kid has a toy bath boat and you put a little tiny model motor on it and it moved, that's a boat. RC boats, those are boats. Get off my back, weirdos. All right, so let's get into building some rigs. Let's start out with let's go budget first, because people don't think that we hit enough budget stuff according to Instagram comments. To be honest, we've been trying to do that as much as possible. We just recorded budget spinning reels review. We did a budget bait cast review and did pretty good. But the spinning reel video, I'm hoping to get back to you guys in like 2 weeks. I've got our team editing it right now. So I'm excited for that. All right. So budget rig. Let's talk about base kayak. What are we starting out with, Paul? And this is based on, we've used this recently. We got to get out in it. It's under $1,000 and it gets lots of good reviews. And folks in our comments seem to talk positively about this all the time. But what's the kayak that we picked for budget build?
So I went with the Pelican Catch 110. It is definitely budget, 2-piece construction, so not roto molded, which gets the price down. Doesn't have a fixed steering, but it does have a skeg in the back, which is nice. Has a nice seat, 2-position. It's good. So it is, yeah, and it is $800 right now.
Yeah, I think it's a good one to go with. I used at Water Dog Outfitters, they have like this permanent demo. It's like it was like resurrected from a grave. They have a Pelican
No,
Catch.
It's one of the ones that's just sitting up on it's like a display.
It's a display like they have. If you've never been to Water Dog Outfitters, Wayhall, Michigan, go check them out. But he's got a bunch of different like kayaks and actual like old classic antique. This was one of those. It's missing parts. It was covered in tree beetles when we got it out on the water. It was covered in cobwebs, and I hopped in that bad boy and I took her for a spin. It's a nice kayak. It's super stable. Seat is okay. It's the wilderness seat, which I've never loved the wilderness / Pelican kayak seats. They're very thin, not very padded. I would put a kayak cushion on it right away. That said, as a base level seat, totally fine. Lots of space, not a lot of track, right? That's kind of part of saving some money, but you can add track wherever the heck you want. So it's not that big a deal if you want to add it. But since we're doing a budget rig, we're going to keep it slim and trim. But I like the choice of the Catch 110. You got an 11-foot kayak. It's stable enough. You can stand and fish, sit and fish. Lots of people love this thing. I think it's a good option. We got to save money, and we still got to get very important things. So we're going to need a PFD first.
PFD.
So what's the PFD?
The PFD, I went with the like the cheapest Atwood that you could get, which is like $40. It's okay. It's really not great. It's not fishing specific, but for $40, you should be able to get a serviceable PFD.
Wait, what brand was the PFD? You're talking about the paddle? You got the Atwood paddle on there.
Yeah.
Is that what PFDs?
Oh, Stolquist.
Stolquist.
Like just basic. Okay. Just basic. Super basic.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we got to have a PFD, a life jacket. You could use a $4 life jacket if you want to. You're not going to be happy with it.
But we're talking about something that's like good. Like serviceable,
we're looking functional.
Competing quality. It's got to be in the neighborhood. So a decent one, $40. And then you got to have a paddle. Yeah. So you got to be able to get around. This one is a paddle only, no motor, no pedal. I'm saying $30. You can get an Atwood paddle. They make a decent kayak paddle. Not going to break. Going to be a decent size. It'll last. So I'm saying $30 for one of those. Looked it up on Amazon.
Sick.
Then I put some accessories. Like I was like a net, maybe a rope, rod holder, like that kind of stuff. I said $25. And then I said, no electronics, no motor, nothing else. No wheels. You're going to have to figure it out.
I love figure it out mode. All right, here. Somebody was asking, pull it up. That's the catch mode right there. Oh gosh. None of these sites have like the funny thing about looking at kayaks on sites is most of the time they just don't have any bigger pictures.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Because it's a kayak and I want to see that. But here's some on Kayak Angler. You can see them actually in action. It's got a little like rudder that's just on a bungee, so it just springs down. You flip it down when you get in the water. It'll move when you bump into stuff. It'll flip back up. Easy use, and it's got a lot of the base amenities that you're going to want to see. Oh my gosh, Kayak Angler Mag, this web page sucks. What are you doing? Hang on, can I just get a bigger picture of this? There's like a top image. Oh my God, of course it's on Amazon. There we go. Let's switch over to this tab. There it is. Now you can look at the kayak as we build this out. All right. Proceed. So we got a PFD. We got a paddle. What's next?
Sorry, I'm doing the total for the next one.
All right, so we got accessories.
Oh, and then I had accessories, just like general stuff, like net, rod holder, just stuff like that. Cheapest one you can get, period, the end. So I put $25.
If you're going super budget, you skip the electronics. If you want to throw electronics on this, we're talking like $300 for like just a
the cheapest. So that would be a 5-inch Lowrance. It's gonna be the $500 to $600. You're gonna have to get some kind of mount that's gonna add your accessories, bump it up by $15. And then you're gonna need a battery, which will bump you up another $50. So we'll say it's another $400.
Yeah, so we're looking at least $1,400 if you want to have
with electronics,
completely usable with electronics. You're out
without electronics, you're at $1,000.
$1,000. So for $1,000, you got a couple accessories, you got your PFD, you got a paddle, you got a boat. So you're happy. Also, this boat goes on sale fairly often. I've seen it on sale a bunch. So it's
it was $1,000. It would go on sale for about what it's at now, which is it's at $800 on an average. So I don't know how much more it's going to go on sale, but yeah.
Also important to point out, you can buy stuff used. We had a funny little comment that was like, why would you buy this? Just buy used. And
that was another one that got another 30 or 40 likes, actually, that my response. My response was, yes, that is correct. Used things are cheaper than new things. I was like,
nailed it.
However, new things are in fact new.
Good Lord. All right. So there's a budget build, and I know a lot of guys are already rocking this thing. I also would say use a drill and power. Use a drill battery. There you go. Sure. I mean,
I didn't.
This is not including things
comparatively.
Like
comparatively, no.
I did see, I think it was you, Michael Martin, not this one, but that you had asked earlier, what's up with Ascend kayaks getting a bunch of hate? I don't know. I've never been in one.
I have been in one. I can tell
you.
You
have? Okay, go ahead.
Ascend kayaks are very heavy. They don't track for crap. And while they look cheap, they actually are cheap. There's not a lot of super high-end components on them. So
walks like a duck, quack duck.
They're in the middle. Like they're actually in the middle for budget. Like I would go with the Catch by giving up the roto mold construction. You know, you're giving up a little bit there. You're getting much better design, a nicer seat, and then components that are going to last. So this Catch, I think, is right up there. So I don't know, man. If you love the Ascend kayaks, that's totally fine. If you're happy, then great. In my experience, you're gonna have to pay another $200-300, but you're gonna get a significantly lighter, more rigid, better designed hull on a kayak. That's my opinion.
All right, neat. Never been in one. I would try it maybe. Caro did not like Ascend kayaks. Single keel, tippy AF. Well, that's never good.
Tippy actual fart.
Yeah, that's what he said. I am not a fan of tippy kayaks. I like extremely stable kayaks. I mainly look for primary stability. So let's go to our mid rig, and then obviously we can talk about these builds.
The mid rig, I'm done. I'm going to need the help with the bougie rig. I only got about a quarter of the way through it. So for the mid rig, I went with the New Canoe Unlimited 10.
Bam, that one.
In my opinion, this is the best value right now going on the market. Now, you're going to buy a motor, so I'll walk you through the total here. So that's where I guess what I'm saying is for something you're going to add a motor to, this is to me the highest value. So $1,600 right off the bat. So you're already $600 more than the entire other build. Just for some clarity.
Is this not the face that you make when you use your motor at all times?
100.
Just straight up grinning.
Absolutely.
Ripping and grinning.
That's what I was at, cheesing. And
just cheesing, dude.
So for the paddle, we're making another big upgrade. So we're going with the Angler Classic. It's $170. That is, Jeff and I use a version of that paddle. And it's very good. I've had 2 Angler Classics. I have one still in my garage. I have 2 in my garage right now.
Bending Branches makes great paddles. If you want to go bougie, they got options for you.
We're gonna see that in a little bit here. So that's the Angler Classic, $170. For PFD, I put $100. My Stolquist Fisherman, the 1 series is actually 80 or 90. So I'm gonna say $100. Like you can definitely get a quality.
There's a lot in that.
A quality vest for $100.
Yeah.
And then even the Old Towns, I think those are 120, but you can find them for 100. So the next step I would go for electronics. I had Garmin 9-inch. They're basic, $700.
Is it the so it's not the 93 SV, it's the one below that.
Basic, the super basic. It's front down side scan, but very nice, and a 9-inch screen. So a good value to me.
That's
$700. $700 can be hard to beat. So that's what I picked. Motor, this is where I think I killed it. I'm going with the Bixby K1 just to get around because it is a paddle boat, but you get the giant motor, the big one.
Which one?
You can either get the medium sized motor for $1,300, or you get the giant motor for $1,600. Not motor, I'm sorry, battery, the huge battery.
Oh, I was like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, you can get the gray battery, the whole kit. The whole kit's $1,300. But if you want to upgrade to the double the size battery, it's another $300. So under $2,000, and that's the whole thing. And then you don't need any through hole kits or anything like that. You're not gonna go as fast, but I think that's a more budget option. So that's where I gave up a little bit.
I think, when you're looking at the mid rig, you could also say, hey, I'm going to rig out, a regular trolling motor. I'm going to put a NK 180 Pro is going to put you, if you buy your own battery, 24 volt, you could get somewhat close to that 1,600, 1,500, 1,600. Water Dog had it on sale.
They gave me the battery for free.
They gave the battery away for free. So it was $1,000 for a Newport NK 180 Pro, which is insane. I almost bought it. I was like, I'll take one.
I know, like, damn.
So pretty insane for sure. But if you want the motor, again, we can option. We'll show the price with and without, just like we did with the budget, because not everybody wants
without. You could still add the pedal system. That's like $700. So you got options. It just gives you a range, right? So I picked the middle of the range.
If you want
on
to,
the high end, 700 on the low end, motor 1300 in the middle.
Yeah, and the U10 is actually a fast paddling boat.
It is.
It goes fast.
It's surprising.
So you can just bat if you want.
Yeah, and then the battery for the electronics went with the Naqua, $90. Gets you, one day at a time. Really nice, low profile, waterproof. Wheels, not these I put $90. You can get them technically for 40 or $50, but they're not really going to match this boat because this boat's so wide, 41 inches. So
the Wilderness Systems wheels are on sale right now for $93, and they're $200 wheels. They're the same as the Amazon wheels that we did a review on some wheels. We had the Yakutek bar cart, we had the or tow and stow or whatever the heck they call it, and then we had the Amazon Ganfind X, right, which was a copy of the Wilderness wheels, but bad. And so the Wilderness have a quick disconnect that can pop off. It's a lot easier to take them apart and then store them, throw them in your boat, whatever, right? So if you guys want to, we don't work with Wilderness, but I mean, I thought it was 60% off is a hell of a deal. Also, the Wilderness crate is on sale as well for under $100, which is freaking nuts. That puts it into top tier kayak crate category. Just put stickers on your lid. It will microwave everything in it. Everything in that top tier of that crate will melt. So don't do that. But all right.
So then,
go ahead.
So Naqua, $90 battery, wheels, $90. Accessories, I put $150. Now the reason I did that, you need a 3-hole wiring kit probably. I tried to avoid it, but you're going to need to mount the motor, so you're going to spend for some accessories there. Et cetera, et cetera. Electronics, you're going to need to get something. So 150 is what I put for general accessories, but you need a lot less than you think if you go with the Bixby. And then so that brings your total. That total, you want to guess? You already looked at it. 4,200.
I already know it. 4,200.
That's a motorized top of the line kayak with nice electronics package and a motor. I think that's a decent build. That's a value build.
So again, this is one of those comments where we could go on the internet and be like, that seems like a good deal, and then everybody like 4,200.
Everyone would lose it. It would be the Joker. We're gonna lose their minds.
So the response that I love the most for folks who are always like, get a boat, get a real boat, get a bass boat, get a John boat, was from and I always forget his name, but it's the guy that does all the videos for Native and Bonafide, like their builds. He's got the long hair, he's got the dogs on his channel. I always forget his name, but he's a cool dude. And he was just like, because I don't want one. Like literally, that's all I say now is like, I don't want a John boat. I don't want a bass boat. I want a badass kayak. That's the way I want to spend my money, use my time. That's just
4,200 is not getting you a decent boat. I mean, I've paid
people argue that
3,000 to 4,000 for a boat. I'm calling BS.
Looking at John boats, I don't want to build my own deck on it, so I'm looking at like that Grizzly, which is I think the base model, the 16 is like 7,200. So when people say John boat, like in that, I think it comes with a motor too, just to keep that in mind. So it is 7,200, which we've spent more on kayaks than that. So I'm agreeing with you and saying that's the only one I would want, and I kind of want a steering wheel instead of just tiller. Like I would go all in on it. So I would end up spending 15 grand on a John boat anyways, comparatively. You can get them used 100%. They're out there cheaper. I totally get it. I don't want those. I just don't want to deal with somebody's 1957 Johnson motor. Like I'm not a motor.
That's the thing that got me. Yeah.
I'm not a motor.
Your electric motor here again, 4,200. Now you could take some money out of this. The accessories I think is on the low end. The wheels, you're going to need them. So you could go to $40 and get the crappy ones. So there's $40. The Naqua, you're not going to beat $90 for the battery. I don't think so. Now the motor, you really can't go any cheaper. You could save a little, but you really can't go any cheaper than 1,300. The only option is go to pedals, so that's 700. So that takes 1,000.
Well, pedals or like you can transom mount a trolling motor with a long tiller handle, and you could get away.
That's more expensive though.
Not typically, no. I mean, you can get $300 trolling motor.
Oh, you mean just like a electric trolling motor?
Yeah. Just
then you gotta you're gonna double your battery cost, triple your battery cost.
No, because you get a 12 volt and they're super cheap. You just get a Power Queen 100 amp, and you'll be fine. You can run that all day.
$300.
$250 for their cheaper one. Yeah.
Yep. And
so $250 plus $300 is $550 though.
Yeah, but if I take my battery, you're gonna triple that. You're gonna double that.
For what? For the Bixby or for? I'm talking about just if you wanted to save.
Yeah. No.
For the electronics. Yeah, and then you got to buy the Naqua.
So you could definitely
$90.
You could maybe shave 1,000 here.
Right. Yeah, that's what
maybe 1,500 total
if you wanted to. Or you can go this route because some people are like, look, I just want it done. I don't want to like DIY a thing. Bixby, you slap it on the dang boat and you go. So that's what
so 3,000 to 4,000 ish to 4,500 is mid. 4 times more expensive.
Mid in a good way, not a bad way.
Yeah.
But some folks would like this rig. I saw Cisco in here. I'm still under 800, dude. Totally, like, and 100%. Our budget rig was pretty dang close, with a decent number of accessories, like straight up brand new Pelican catch mode. So yeah, you can 100% do that. All right, so let's go bougie, and then we can talk about like the rigs that we're building right now and give you an idea, because I just got all the parts in for our new canoes that we're going to build out with their accessories, and we can take a look at those. But bougie rig, now we're talking about your base kayak, probably has pedals, most likely, and you're spending up quite a bit. So we jump into a new stratosphere that kind of starts at, we could say it starts at XTR, $2,800, which is non-pedal, but just bear with me. Like if I want to build a bougie platform, that is a great platform to make bougie. So like $2,800, or the native Titan X with pedals at $3,699. I think it's still at right now. So somewhere around that is your base level, or just go all in. You look at like a Hobie 5800, or Paul has on this list the e-pedal, for example, which is currently, without going to that crazy spacecraft $15,000 kayak that somehow exists, it's like the most expensive kayak you can buy right now, base level. So $6K, you've got the pedal assist / motor option, electric motor, and then you've got battery included, $6K. So what are we putting on this bad boy?
What same list, right? So paddle, I went with the Angler Pro. So bending branches, Angler Pro, the step up from the classic. That's $280. So you had $100 there. PFD, I put $150. That gets you pretty much any high-end PFD that you want, Mustang on down. Electronics, I would go up to the forward facing. So, I'm gonna say the 10SV. So 10SV on Garmin.
So those are e-pedal on the screen. Sorry guys, I had to jump over that. Yeah. So price wise, we were lucky. We had someone cool who was watching the channel. B Dooley, shout out to you, brother, for helping us get into our first Garmin setup. Then we had another cool person that I knew from the days when I owned my gym, Ted, who also guides out of Grand Rapids area, hook us up with our next setup. So we've gotten lucky on fish finders. That said, if you go, we're going bougie, you go all in, you get that Live Scope Plus, you go leveling up, or if you do the active target, if you do the Humminbird 360, like you might be able to finagle these numbers by a couple $100, but they're all relatively around this higher amount. So what Garmin do you want to go with if we're doing Garmin on this? The one you have, the 12?
I went with the 10SV.
Okay.
Because it's $1,000. Now, that's the Echo Map 10SV, $1,000. Live Scope though is $1,700.
$1,700 on top of that. So,
and then your battery is gonna run you. I'm gonna go in the middle between $500 and $700. So I'm gonna say $600.
You're going 50 amp.
50 amp. It would be nice, but you could go to 36, and I think you'd be really happy. So
Dakota X2.
500. Yeah, for any X2 Dakota, whatever it ends up being, right? Even Power Queens, if they don't make that size, but even if they did, it would still gonna be $500.
Yeah, so the X2 12 volt 50 amp that I bought was $360. Yeah. No charger included, by the way. Chargers are $80 to $130. I got the NOCO 2-station charger. It's a dual 5 amp charger, which is sick and a lifesaver. I love that thing. So that was $110. because you got to have your charger if you got these batteries. The Nocos come, or the Naqua comes with its own. So for the previous rigs we built, comes with a charger. A lot of those types of batteries do. My Power Queen came with a charger. X2 does not. Dakota does. It's kind of factored into their price as well. So just something to keep in mind. You don't got to get a Bluetooth, but these X2s, their Bluetooth is kind of nice if you want to just check battery levels if you're out for a long trip. It's something that you could add. If I'm going bougie, I'm doing that like every time. Why are we talking about trucks? Chat is on truck talk right now. Just raging. These two dummies over here talking about kayaks. All the cool people in chat are talking about trucks. Next episode, best trucks. Budget, mid, bougie. Looking for that F-150 Raptor. What's your bougie truck of choice, Paul? You going Silverado High Country?
I probably would have. Yeah, I'd probably say like the High Country or the Longhorn or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Ram Longhorn, the special edition.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest though, if I could buy any truck and it feels bougie because of how expensive it is, it'd be the full size Tundra fully maxed TRD.
The TRD,
dude, that it will outlive my whole every generation that I produce.
Oh my gosh, B Dooley, the Ram Charger. Wasn't there a Ram with a Viper engine in it?
Yeah.
Right?
No,
yeah.
No. Not a truck.
Not a truck.
No, they actually put the V12 on a motorcycle.
Oh my god.
Yeah. 1,000 horsepower motorcycle.
Yeah, maybe it's the Ram Charger I'm thinking about. I remember one was on the showroom floor when I was shopping for my truck, and I was like,
the SRT.
How much that thing? Maybe it was the SRT. He was like 75 grand used, has 110,000 miles on it. I was like, okay, no, thank you. But I wasn't like, you'd have to be a moron to buy that.
Think about that. Can you show me your Honda Civics?
No, I was like, let me take it for a test drive. I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah.
No. Oh, side note before we jump back in, that dealership is in the Jackson area. And
which one? X2?
Not a great spot. So you've got this $75,000 truck, showroom floor. Some guy broke in through the front glass door, got into that truck, and fell asleep. And they just showed up the next day to this guy asleep in this truck. And I came in the next day. There was plywood on the door, and I was like, "Hey, what happened?" They're like, some guy took a nap in that truck. Want to take it for a test drive?" I was like, "No,
straight to the moon. Go
straight to the moon. How fast can we do?" Dude. All right. So we looked at the kayaks. Let's keep building this one. I think we're at, we got the electronics. So we go bougie electronics. We go live scope. Yes, I saw the article about MLF, potentially banning it, which will be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens with that and how everybody responds to it. But we got the Garmin with battery. What are we at? 2,300 on that setup. I feel like we spent so much more, but I have to remember we bought double because you got one and I got one when we bought these.
Yeah.
A lot. I think I spent $5 or $6K with the discount at the time. But anyway, so let's go to the motor. So we keep going. We're staying bougie. Of course you got a motor. Maybe you got two, which I'm going to add a second motor to this thing because why wouldn't I? We're going bougie. And because it's an e-pedal, if that's your platform of choice, it's got 3 motors because you have the assist in the middle. But let's say that you got like the Titan X or the Hobie Pro Angler is really close in price. So we could say if you wanted to go dual motor, a lot of these boats
dual
are
motor.
Well, I know this one is because it's 6K. So it would actually it would be more expensive, more bougie, my friend. If you got
I know bougie. I'm just bougie within reason. So I'm trying
I got you.
I'm wheeling a deal in here.
Fine. So we don't need spot lock. This does not have spot lock, but I'm just saying.
Either way, you could swap the spot lock for the cost of the NK180 Pro. Call it whatever you want. They're the same thing.
Yep.
Same cost.
Okay, so you grab the NK180 Pro. It's $1,000, $999. You add a battery for that. You're going X2 on this?
Save like $200.
Sure. Okay, so you go X2 battery, same one, 50 amp hour, but you got to go 24 volt on this one. So what's the 24 volt cost?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not the 12. So the X2 24 volt 50 amp hour is not a thing.
No, I don't think they make one.
The Newport is $799. So if you went with a Newport battery, it's $799. I don't think we can save that much money on this, dude. So you just go with the Newport. That's your option. Even if you went amped outdoors, is $749. So it's
Same
not
thing.
cheaper. Yeah. So $799, $800 is your battery.
Wheels, I got $150.
Which one?
That's for just the bar cart XL.
I feel like with much heavier kayaks, I'm not doing that though. Like I'm going to integrated wheels every single time.
So
I would go Boondocks, which is 300.
Yeah, Boondocks 300. Good call. And then accessories, I put 350 mostly because
you're gonna put more on it.
Forward-facing sonar, you gotta. There's like another 150 right there.
Mounting, wiring,
all your wiring, and then all your mounting. So all these like Anchor Wizard, electronics, Captain's Bridge, rod holders, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know, so 350 I think is reasonable. So the total there. Hold on, I'm almost done. Total there.
Hold on, I'm almost done. I wasn't rushing. I was going to click on.
I'm almost done with the math.
I was going to click on Cisco's comment here. So Cisco, this build is great. It's funny. I had the Onyx. Oh, you have the inflatable PFD. Nice. But yeah, I had essentially this same kind of rig, was one of my first ones. So if that's what you're in at with, I think you said $800, definitely a solid budget option for sure. I love it. Connor says he likes the Pelican. Definitely recommend 2 anchors to manage position, skid blades to protect the hull and launches. Yeah. And that's the thing too, with some of those more budget kayaks using less plastic or less durable plastic. Get the keel guards, like protect your investment. Don't drag it around, use it on wheels, all that kind of stuff. Important. All right. So what are we at? Total cost. This is the bougie rig, you guys. So quick return rundown here.
This is like value bougie.
Okay, so let's go value bougie, because you don't have to buy a second motor because the e-pedal has a motor that you pedal. It's assisted and it can motorize itself. It can just go by itself.
This is good. $12,000.
So $12,080. That's the e-pedal with your paddle, your PFD, your live scope electronics, and NK180 Pro off the back, with your bougie battery.
I didn't include crates on any of this.
Wheels and accessories. 350. So accessories, if you go bougie crate, I mean, you're right there. You're at 500. $200 for a crate, 175 for the Black Pack Pro.
You're at 500.
Yep. You go bougie, you go source crate, you go 250.
A whole other line item.
So any one of these you can add crate wise. $20 for the budget. Mid, you're probably at the $100 mark. You get that Flambeau, you get the Wilderness on sale right now, $63.
$100.
Yeah, but $50 to $100, and then you go to bougie rig, you're probably spending 175, 200. Yeah.
2 bills.
2,
not even sunnies, just bills.
Oh man, come on,
bills.
There are no beers in that cooler. I mean
none.
Not a one.
That is very true, and I mean very.
That's when you don't say not one, you go not a one. I like out of doors, not a one out of doors. All right. So we made the rigs, and I want to know, let's do a vote in chat, Chaz, if we can. Let's do, based on these rigs, and I'll rapidly run through them real quick again so everybody can hear them. The budget rig, the mid rig, the bougie rig. What one are you going with? And there will be zero judgment here, so please don't worry about that. Just what would you go with? And that's totally cool. So again, the budget rig, we chose the Pelican Catch 110. The Catch Mode 110. It's $800 right now, $799. You got your paddle. We went with a basic Atwood paddle, basic PFD, basic accessories like a net. Never heard of her. Electronics, none if you don't want them, or like $300 if you want to buy a base one with a $90 battery. So around $400, you can get your lower end electronics, but you can see things, and that helps. $995 was our total there. Mid rig, we went with the New Canoe U10, great all around paddle. The bench made. I'm thinking of knives now. The bending branches, Angler Classic, PFD. I think we went with the Stolquist that you have or similar to yours. Electronics, we went with a Garmin 9-inch, their base model, not the UHD. Motor is a Bixby. Battery is an Aqua for the fish finder. Wheels, basic, like Wilderness on sale right now, $93. Some accessories, 150, maybe 200 if you had the crate, 250. We're looking at $4,200 for that build. And then your bougie build, I just went through, but real quick, it's E-pedal, Angler Pro from Bending Branches paddle, PFD is a nice one, electronics, live scope, motor is an NK 180 Pro. In addition to the motor, it already has wheels, Boondocks, which is the groovy landing gear, $300, and accessories, 350, 500. So roughly 12 grand is going to be that bougie build. Now, we have owned all three of these builds, Paul, correct?
Oh yeah.
So which one you rolling with?
I'm with the people. I'm with the people, man. Mid.
Go and we've scaled back, right? Like, so our new canoes are gonna fit into this. You're building that U10. You got the Angler Classic. I might have got the Pro, but like the one below it. Can't remember. I think your paddle was like $200. But anyways, you got your Stolquist already. Like, this is literally your rig, and I'm gonna also build this with my Unlimited. We'll have some of their base accessories. We're going to try them out. Never used the new canoe accessories. So we have like their pod. We're going to use their EPS. So it'll be mid plus, like a little bit above, because we're getting fancier accessories on it. And the rest of it's going to be super basic. We're going to use the Black Pack Pro, the Yak Attack wheels, like all that stuff. We're just, we're going to have a mid rig. And then I've got my Titan X, which is my bougie. And you got rid of anything bougie that you ever owned. So now you're kind of like mid all the way. So you're standing by it. I salute you, sir.
Very mid.
Very mid. Just like you. Like how you are as a person. Your kayak is mid. You are mid. It's perfect.
Mid.
Match made in heaven. And I pretend to be bougie. So I've got the Native Titan X. I'm not at 12K on it. Even if I didn't have the discounts I have, I think I'm closer 9, 10. I know we talked about this on a show recently. I can't go back through the math right now in my head, but we're relatively there. It's call it a 10K kayak, right? That's my bougie kayak. And then my Unlimited will not be. It will be straight up mid, which I think like the vast majority of people are going to be really happy with. It'll be an investment, right? Like, this is one of those things honestly, that you're investing in, but not an insane amount.
In my opinion, it is really, really, really hard to beat a PDL 108, 106.
Yeah, you just got rid of yours, and Rob is mad at you about it.
It's really, really hard to beat that for the money because you don't need a motor. It's very fast. You don't need the extra length and weight. It's super stable, super fast.
Yeah,
it's got a whole bunch of stuff like built into it already, and it's super quality. Like, it's insane. It's such a good boat. And it's $2,600. How are you gonna beat that at $2,600?
It's
dude.
It's a lot. It's the one I recommend all the time. Somebody DM'd us the other day. They were like, "Hey, going out on Lake Huron, like what boat would you pick?" I was like, "Dude, Sportsman pedal, 106 or 120. I like the 120, especially on bigger water." But anyways, Connor O'Brien, not Conan O'Brien, Northwoods Outdoors in Michigan usually has this boat. I think he's talking about the Pelican Catch, $799 with paddle and PFD. And sometimes you can even get those deals. We were at Waterdog. He was slashing prices left and right.
He had him at 700.
It was crazy. And not the one that was totally destroyed that I used, but
a very nice one.
A nice one that is new. All right. So chat right now, 49 votes. Mid is crushing it. Just so you guys know, if you ever said that on the internet and you got 800,000 views, 600,000 people would be like, "That's crazy. Don't spend that amount of money." It's not nearly that amount. Like, there's a lot of likes on that video, so I know it's all mostly positive. It's just this vocal, like, angry group that always likes to be mad about everything. Like, I don't get it. It takes so much energy to be that mad. Why would you waste all that energy? Imagine commenting on every video you guys see. Every single one. We love when you comment ours. Thank you. But imagine every video you went to, you had something to say, and it was always negative. I promise you, these people are always negative. It's so weird. But anyways,
Connor O'Brien. Tell him aggressively average anglers sent you.
Oh, he's going to Waterdog. Heck yeah.
He said.
Connor, definitely call us out. Steve's awesome.
Just point at the screen. Our video's probably playing.
If he's not playing our video, I'd be surprised. That was
Change
the
the channel
thing.
You owner, get over there.
this show sucks. Get these guys out of here.
Put that back on.
It's wild. Like when I went there for Kayak Adventure Series, they were playing our videos on the screen, and it was the craziest experience I've had in a while. So yeah. Ryan, dude, great call out. Trailer costs. We totally missed the bougie. You got a trailer.
Another $2,000.
2K. So you're at 14 plus. If we factor in crates and additional accessories, because you're going bougie, let's be real, you're going on all in, it's 15K. You are correct. We talked about that before the show, and we totally forgot to do it on the show. So good point. Mid, you guys, you don't need the trailer. You can get away without it. I haven't used the trailer on my native Titan X. I haven't even used wheels on my Titan X. I just slide it off that truck bed. I don't give a hoot. Like it works fine. You can pull it off. And don't yell at me if your boat breaks. Mine hasn't yet, so I feel good about it. All right, so let's talk about our new canoe builds. 78% of you guys said mid build. We agree with you. We're going to be rocking a mid a lot of the time, so stay tuned for that. But that's cool to see, a little validation there. All right, so going into our builds, I'm going to be doing most of it, not all of it, because I don't have an NK motor that I can put on this. We're waiting on that. At some point in the future, you guys, we will have an NK300 that will go on a new canoe unlimited that will also have an XI3 on it. So my mid sometimes can be mid and sometimes will be bougie. So it's like a transformer. But right now, I don't have that stuff, so I can't do that. What we're going to start with on the new canoes, we picked up their pod, and we love the idea of having the all-in-one fish finder kit. Like it's all on the pod. And that way you can detach the pod, take it off, throw it in your truck. You have to leave your fish finder out there, or take it off the mount or whatever. But that's just pretty cool. And if you had two new canoes, so we've been talking about, we're going to play around with it with our two, that you can just swap it from one boat to the next. So if we're like fishing, we decide, hey, this is what could happen. Like you got your U10, I got my unlimited. We're like, hey, let's tandem fish. Let's both go in the same boat. And then we take your seat off of yours, put it on mine, and we can move your pod over. And like, that's wild. That is just wild. Paul's going to mess around with the fish eagle, right? We're going with that. We're doing the eagle eye, rather.
Proceeds from some sales, and they're going to go get the new Lowrance eagle.
Yeah.
So it is their $1,000 forward-facing sonar unit. I believe it's 10-inch. $1,000. So very cool to see the price coming down. Gotta figure out how to get that rigged up, but that'll be really interesting.
So we're going to try that and test out budget live scope, if you will. I'm not going to do live scope on the unlimited. I am going to go with I'll probably just go super basic. I'm probably looking at the 9-inch Garmin that Paul was talking about for our mid rig build. I'll probably do exactly that one. Hopefully with battery and everything, keep me very close to $800 to $1,000. I think I can get a decent amount with just down scan and side scan. Maybe not even side scan. I'm going to go like how you wanted to do on your Old Town. Just go more basic with my fish finder on the unlimited.
Dude, yeah.
I'll probably end up going down inside though. Maybe not. I don't care. I don't use side scan that much, but so why not? But they did also send us their, they have a retractable transducer mount, which is sick. So we're going to test that out. And then we've got their transom mount with the quick connect. It's their EPS, is what they call it. It has a foot pedal for your steering. So push your toes forward, it goes left, heel down, it goes right. It's got a very tight turn radius, which is cool, especially on the U10 being the shorter boat. And it's a quick disconnect. So it pops off super easy, which is going to make loading and unloading the kayaks really easy. So we're going to get to test these out. This is just like what we know about it. We haven't used it. So, well, we use it at iCast sort of, but we didn't like do a lot with it. So we'll get to actually have it hands-on, beat the crap out of it. You guys know how we do things. We'll give you a long-term review on them. So those are like the base new canoe accessories. I'm trying to go back there in my head. Yeah, that's all that I have. I did they have a bow mount plate for the quick release bracket for the XI3. So I'm going to show how you could put an XI3 on it. I had to buy $200 in accessories to do that. The plate is $100, which is it's starboard. It's kind of wild. So I'll see if it's worth it. But I had to rebuy the quick connect because you have to have that puck insert. So I had to get another Motor Guide quick connect. I got the Amazon version, which was $50. I had to get wire. I had to get bungee because there's no bungee on it. I had to get, the different connectors and all of that. That's nice. And I already have an XI3. So all I got to do is set up the mounting, the wiring, and then I can take my XI3 from my Titan X over to my new Canoe Unlimited. So you guys will see pictures, video, all that. I'll show you how it's done. I think that's kind of cool because if you have two kayaks for kind of different purposes, but like I want to take out the Unlimited one day, but I kind of want my XI3. It is kind of nice if you could take it from one and just pop it on over to the other. So I'm excited to try that out.
You get one kayak, right? You get the 10. You're like, that's what I can afford. It's the easy one. But then you're like, oh man, really wish I had another couple of feet and put a huge motor on it and be able to go with two people or, go hit the big lake. And you're like, but that's a lot of money. That whole rig again is like another $4,500. Or if you've got a pod system, get the EPS system. It's not quite just the kayak, but if the kayak's 1,800, spend 200 getting the accessories you want, like the EPS system and all that, and another seat, and like you're saving a ton of money, a ton. If you go buy another kayak, you got to pay everything else for all the accessories, all the customization.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're thinking about for next year is like, what if we're both rocking a U10 and an Unlimited? We'll have to see how much we like them long term. I think we're gonna like them a lot. I thought this is interesting too. There was somebody in the comments was popping off about the Unlimited weight limit, right? So the 650 capacity, right? So the weight capacity. And they literally quoted Bearded Paddler's video that he put up yesterday. Love Bearded Paddler. We've been on his podcast. But it's an interesting watch. Definitely go check it out. And he talks about the weight capacities not being regulated amongst kayaks, which I think is relatively true. And like when they say it's 650, it's like in meeting certain conditions. With the Unlimited, it's like with the scupper plugs in, right? And then if you hit 650, like what does that actually mean? Is the boat submerged? Is it just taking on water? There's a lot of interesting things that came out of the video. I think it's worth a watch. So go check out Bearded Paddler's vid on that. Like I said, just dropped yesterday. I think it's his newest video. And we're going to put that to the test because we're both going to go on my boat. I want to see how it operates. I want to use the motor if I can. I want to have batteries and all these accessories and blah, blah, blah. So the point that he was mainly making was what's the usable capacity? Like what's the performance capacity? And that number should be listed on his kayaks as well. Some brands are starting to put it up on their websites. So I would say go check out the brand website, see what's on there. I can't attest to if they're lying to you or not, but at least put you closer to the mark. It was an interesting thing since we're talking about building kayaks. It's something you should be looking at, especially my big dudes out there, my big folks, because we got to pay attention to our weight limits when we start. You guys know how I fish. Stack on that like 40 pounds of tackle and my batteries and my motor and my lunch, which is 12 pounds, like all that stuff is really, you got to factor in those numbers. Just another interesting piece.
When I took everything out of my Crescent, which was a very light build, but I took everything out, batteries, wiring kit, literally everything. Take it all out. I put it in one Busby bin. And then I put the motor on top, and I picked it up thinking like this will be 40 pounds-ish. 100 pounds, easy. It's wild how heavy it is. It is so much weight. It is staggering. It's with the batteries, it's like more than the kayak.
Yeah. So it's not, you don't think about that. You're just like, kayak crate, you go here. You're like, how much do you weigh?
You hold one thing at a time. Like, the battery's like kind of heavy, but not really. The electronics are kind of heavy, but not really. And the motor's kind of heavy, but not really. That's 60 pounds.
If I put that NK300 on my Titan X, that thing is like at limit because it already weighs 175.
Yeah.
And then you factor in 2 batteries. What'll be 3 batteries at that point?
Huge. You got 50 pounds in batteries.
That'll be more than 3 of them, and one of them is a 36 volt.
Yeah,
that's a lot of battery weight. So yeah, they get It gets heavy. Again, it'll be nice having the unlimited be like that. We call it the throw and go, essentially. Something I slide off that truck bed and be loaded up, ready to go within 3 to 5 minutes. Like that is something that I am excited to have. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, we have like a bunch of Yak Attack accessories that we're gonna put on them. So we got a ton of track packs, like an obscene amount of track packs. Okay, the absolute correct amount of track packs. So we're gonna put those on there. There's tons of track on the new canoe, so it's easy to do. We've got cup holders, we've got the rotor grip holders for paddles and such. We've got the leaderboard with a leaderboard accessory holder, and the new cell phone mount. I'll put that, and I'll try to use that in some videos, or we'll both try it out. We use it. It's actually a lot more secure than I think. Paul, you were maybe surprised by that the most.
I was very surprised. I was caught off guard.
Yeah. So when we unboxed, the first time we unboxed this was the best. But we had corrupt audio. So we had to refilm this unboxing 3 times, you guys. It was awful. So when you see it, smash that like. So we're unboxing the Yak Attack.
You're right, Bro
Chacho. That's where you are correct, Bro Chacho. Senior Chacho. So we unboxed the cell phone holder, and Paul, when we looked at this on the website, you were like, there's no way. No physical way this holds my phone. So we unbox it. I grab it. I slap my phone in it, and I just started like trying to chuck my phone across the room and just gave Paul all the icks in the world, which is hilarious to watch. I wish that footage worked. Dang it. Oh, well. But yeah, it'll lock in that cell phone. We're going to test it out. Obviously, we use it on the water. I'm excited for it. So I think that covers all the new canoe stuff. So like I said, I'm going to put mine together other than the EPS system. I can't do the foot steering because I'm not leaving it on there without a motor. The motor, hopefully, the NK300, fingers crossed, is going to come in late fall to winter. So essentially, it doesn't really matter if it gets here until like next April when I can fish again. But it will be here eventually. We're working with Newport for a little while now, and we're really just waiting to have the low pro batteries drop from Newport so we can test those out with it. So bear with us. NK300 will be able to do like a 180 versus 300.
NT6, baby.
I'm like, when's that NT6 coming for the Kayak, for the inflatable? I cannot wait for that. Also, if you guys didn't know, Paul put a hole in his inflatable and fixed it in the same minute, pretty much.
Didn't even pump it back up.
Yeah, it was in the transom mount. So he was threading the bolts. And if you guys don't know, when you thread bolts onto an inflatable accessory panel, it doesn't have plastic on the back of it. It's not protected. It goes into the inflatable.
Isn't that weird?
It is so wild.
What a fucking insane.
So he screws in the bolt.
Bad shit. Crazy.
All right. This is what Rar did the other week, and he got in trouble for it. So I feel like you should get in trouble for it too.
We all told him he wasn't in trouble, even though he was.
Mr. Chacho, watch your tongue.
Mr. Chacho.
So, anyways, if you thread the bolts into these mounts, if you go too far, you will puncture said boat. Don't do that on now we're demonetized. Great job. So he threaded the bolt, he went too far, he punctured a hole in it. How do you fix it? He threw a bunch of super glue at it, and it works
on
fine.
The screw. Mm-hmm. And the screw in really fast.
And then you fished all day out of that boat without any issues.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Punctures, not that big a deal.
Many issues. Many issues.
Oh, we had other issues. Yeah, we broke a lot of stuff that day. It wasn't great. We had a rough time, and we filmed for like 2 hours and only fished for like 2 hours. So
no, fished for 12 minutes.
If you guys wonder why we don't get to drop a ton of fishing videos, it's because we do too many product videos. But we do that because that's what YouTube wants us to do. And when we do fishing videos, they're like, get out of here, clown. All right. Anyways, cooler lid, AP120. The phone holder looks huge. You're not wrong. It's not small. That said, you can get a low profile version of it, or you can get the panfish camera mount version, which is what we have. It's the bigger one for sure. You can get a smaller one, just like a RAM mount with the actual holder itself, which I'm cool with being large because it's holding $1,000 in technology from going into the water. So yeah. Lost surprisingly to Burley on that trip. We only lost one bait, and it was mine, and it was, of course, a chatterbait. And that's when I exploded my brand new Daiwa Tatula SV. Literally the worst bird's nest I've ever had in my entire life, including when I learned how to bait cast, which was not great. Spent 30 minutes fixing it, cut off half the line, did fix it, did use that reel for the rest of the day. And it's a great reel. I like that reel a lot. I'm going to switch rods that it's on right now, though. It was on a Psycho stick. I don't think it was a good pairing. I'm going to put it on something else. Maybe the TFO. We'll see. But we'll test that out. So, all right. Did we do Slow Rolling Thunder for this one?
No.
There was a lot of research that went into this video, so we didn't get to do that a ton. So coming up Friday, if you guys like the kayak reviews, if you want to yell at a screen or yell at us in the comments about something we call a boat, a kayak, a skiff, a sup, and a hybrid, definitely check out that video on Friday. But we reviewed the Crescent K-Craft, the one that Instagram's freaking out about right now, and the Skiff 117 from Bonafide. Took those out on the water, took them for a spin, had a good time, and gave our review on those. And then next week, I think we're going to do a budget kayak video where we had the Pelican Catch and one of the cheapest Crescent kayaks you can get, which is $600. And then I got a huge unboxing for you guys with a ton of stuff we got from iCast. All brand new, all pretty neat, lots of cool stuff. Lots of variety. Verite. All right, that's all we got for you guys tonight. We will be back again next week. I think next week we have a special guest, right, Paul?
Oh, you may have heard of him.
The Informative Fisherman.
Who?
What? That guy that we met at the airport while we were filming a plastic duck
video. Herbie.
What a way to meet somebody. So yeah,
filming my friend.
So next week we'll have Informative Fisherman on. I want to talk to him about, the process going behind how he helps out with designing baits.
What are sticks?
I want him to teach us how to skip baits under docks better because he's really good at it.
I really need some of those.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about some of the baits he's worked on, and I don't know, just talk fishing, just have a good time. Catch some good vibes, whatever. That's what we're going to do. But that's all we got for tonight. So we will catch you guys again next Wednesday, same time, same place. Members, we will see you guys September 10th, Tuesday, September 10th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. If you are a member, be there or be square because we do giveaways on Members Only Lives.
Square.
Yeah. And we will load you up a bag of tackle and maybe a reel and some other stuff. I got lots of reels sitting on my desk right now. We should probably
should we announce the reel?
No.
The real Schmiff?
No, because we have to refilm something that broke again because all our technology sucks.
Come on.
We put a Bixby on the Wilderness Systems eye attack and I zipped around on it and it was sick and fun. And then the GoPro footage got corrupted. So and then Paul broke the Bixby. So I broke it once, you broke it once, or even. So we're going to get the Bixby K1 back again, and we're going to put it on that again, and we're going to film that. And after that, we're going to give away the Wilderness Eye Attack. So if you guys like the Wilderness Eye Attack and you don't want to spend $1,300, come to one of our members' lives. I can't tell you which one it's going to drop on because I still have to film that content, and I can't give it to you, but I will ship you an inflatable at some point. All right. That's it. Chaz takes out. Love you guys. Bye, Chaz.